Hello and welcome to episode number 20 of the Marriage Coach Podcast, where we are here to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving.
Today we're going to be discussing having a united front in relationships.
A united front is deciding that publicly we will always respect each other. We will, even when we disagree, we will always respect each other.
Yeah.
But we also agree to, in private, discuss whatever issues, whatever circumstance, whatever situations we need to discuss so that we can come to an understanding. So to me, it's about a united front. We want to be clear about that. It's not about pretending.
Yeah.
It's about respecting your significant other always in public, always with family, always with friends, always and important with your children, always and importantly respecting your significant other, valuing your differences, but respecting in public, and then privately coming together in a certain time to discuss what you agree or disagree about, or whatever needs to be worked out.
Here it is. As a marriage, two becoming one. So it's like no matter what, we still on the same page. No matter what, we're working together. We're not working against each other. We're letting each other know that I'm not your enemy, that we are in this thing together, that we're not fighting each other, but we're fighting with each other.
And as a wife, to be respected, to be heard, to be considered, to be thought of, to be taken seriously, to have a voice in what we're discussing or whatever we're talking about, but to always feel that no matter what the circumstance, that overall my thoughts, my ideas, whatever I want to contribute is being respected.
Yes. I mean, the United Front for me, one of the things I have to say, no matter where we go, even if we have a discussion or we talk about something like right then and there, one of the things we do, you always show me respect. You almost show me respect. And I think that's very important, for a man, the man of the house or the leader of the family actually has a voice. So that's been one of the great things, just me having a voice and feeling like I having a voice, whether we're in private, whether we're in public, whether we're in front of friends, family, church, ministry, everything, my voice is always, I feel like my voice always been heard. So on today, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about three categories and what a united front looks like. What a united front looks like, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's as a parent, whether it's as a leader. What do a united front look like? And I want to let you know, before we really get into this, that this podcast, we're talking about a united front in marriage, but this is in every relationship. If you're a supervisor, if you're a manager on the job, this united front applies to you as well, because it's all about, the thing about it is about showing respect. I mean, I have to respect you in order for anybody else to respect you. I can't expect my family to respect you if I don't have any respect for you in front of my family. I can't expect for the children to respect you if I don't have any respect for you in front of the children, and vice versa. In every situation, I mean, co-workers, whatever. I mean, oh man, we can go real deep with this, but we have to really be careful. The things, even if somebody don't know you as a spouse, when I'm on the job, when I'm talking to my co-workers, and when I'm talking about you, if the way I'm representing you, when we do have those Christmas parties, and when we do have those gatherings, when they come about it, they're going to look at you in a respectful way if all I've been doing is sharing respect about you to them. What's the first category?
The first category is your family and your friends. Your family, your friends. This is including your parents. This is including your children. This is including the neighbor. This is your best friend. This is your friend from 5 years back. It is important that all of the people in your intimate relationship, family, friends, children, in-laws, that you present a united front always to these people, that they know that this couple is a team,
Right.
that this relationship operates together.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to go to Cedric and get something that Sean doesn't know about, or something that Sean is not going to be in agreement with. He's not going to say things about Sean, or in regards to Sean, that she doesn't know anything about. And this is very particular, and I'm speaking as a woman. This is very particular that we have to be careful about as women. You have to be careful as a woman in a relationship that you do not say things about your spouse or your significant other to your family, to your friends, or to your children
Yeah.
when you disagree, that you are careful about how you have this disagreement, how this disagreement is displayed. Because the thing that I have seen, and I've seen it happen time and time again, if you say certain things or you present certain ways that you feel about a person, you just talked about the way you may talk to your coworkers when I'm not there. When you are with your girlfriends and you telling her all your woes about him, that makes her have a certain, we call it, feel some type of way about him. So she doesn't respect him or honor him as your husband or your significant other. This is where the girlfriends be like, boy, whatever, or please, you can't even do this, do that, because you have said these things to them in conversations, and that's not presenting a united front. A united front is whatever issues you all have, that you are discussing those issues in private, and those things are not being discussed with people or being put on display when your significant other is not there. When it's something that the significant other has said, it makes it really to your family, your friends, your children. It makes it a fact to them.
Yeah.
If you're, and this is the thing, sometimes we're not careful as people who we vent to, even when there is a problem. Listen, we're not saying that you should not have trusted, notice I said trusted,
Mm.
wise counsel to go to
Yeah.
when you have a problem, because as human beings, we all need that. You need to
Absolutely.
have trusted,
Absolutely.
wise counsel you can go to when you have a problem. But
Absolutely.
you have to be mindful that counsel is wise, and that they are able to handle the information that you are venting to them about. Because when you don't do that, then that united front is not going to be presented before that person. And this is the thing, for some people, we don't realize that our family and friends can't be the person that we're venting to about our issues. Because even if they are a trustworthy, wise counsel for someone else, when you put into the fact that they love you, they concerned about you, and they want you to feel no pain, no hurt, sometimes they can't think logical, and they immediately start to feel some type of way about your spouse,
Yeah.
or they begin to treat them some type of way.
Yeah.
Or even if they don't say it, they, like, things like that. So you want to be careful, very,
And,
very careful about that.
and this is the thing, you said the thing like, I mean, that's kind of like out in the opening. But I mean, even things that are done, the way people respond to certain people, I mean, it can still be based on that same fact.
Absolutely.
Something that was said. And it's like, I mean, you really be honest with it. I mean, that's spouses. I mean, men and women, husbands and wives. I mean, the truth of the matter is like, man, you
Mm,
really don't respect your husband yourself. But then you get upset as well when other people
don't
saying
respect
things and
them.
treating your
Hmm.
husband
Hmm.
and your wife a certain way.
Yeah.
But the truth of that is, you don't respect them. You
Hmm.
don't respect them, but you want your mama to, you want your mother. Let me correct. You want your mother to respect your wife, but you don't even respect your wife when you're conversating about your
With
wife.
your mother,
And
absolutely.
that's the thing. It's like you want this to happen. You want your cousins. Your cousins are messy. Your aunties is messy. But what have you been telling them? What
Hmm.
have you been telling them? And it's like, and I think it's like, it's one of those things like we long for something, but then we
Realize
don't,
that we sabotaging it
right.
ourselves.
We're the
Hmm.
sabotage. We're
Hmm.
sabotaging. We're the one that's detrimental to the relationship. We are the reason why they're acting like they acting. You're
Hmm.
like, oh man, nobody, when your husband talk, nobody listen to him, but you're the one that talks about how all he do is run his mouth and don't know what he's doing.
Hmm. Or now your spouse doesn't want to go be around your family or
Ah,
doesn't want to
yeah,
hang out, which go to your family functions. And you like, why you don't want to go to my mama's house? We go over there every Sunday. But he doesn't want to go over there because you sit up with your sisters or your cousins and your friends and you talk
absolutely.
about him and you talk about the things you don't like. And you know how we can do as people.
Yeah.
We do little
Oh, they can
things.
internalize
We
it.
do little things in little sly ways. And
Some slight
sometimes
comments.
exactly.
Yeah,
All of that because you have let them into a space they should not be in. So now there is not a united front
yeah,
because it's you and them against him
yeah.
or you
And,
and them against her because guys do it too. You tell your mama or tell your sister when you're mad at your wife when she said or did something you didn't like, you go run and tell your sister and then your sister feels some type of way about your spouse and she's saying little bitty stuff and it's now affecting the relationship. So this is about always respecting, always supporting, always being open to listen, but
yeah.
also being mindful
Mm,
of what you say about your spouse,
yes.
about your significant other to other people. Because listen, I live with Cedric. I live with Cedric every day.
Yeah,
So what I say to people about him is painting a picture, a private picture of him because they only know what they see in public.
yeah.
So I am the one that could either taint that picture or I'm the one that could shine it up and make it sparkle. And I don't mean as far as lying. I'm saying if I'm presenting a version of you that people have no clue about, then I'm not like, they're like, wait a minute. This is something totally different.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. As a couple, you're not going to always agree. You're two different people. You have two different minds. You're not going to always agree. You're not going to always be on the exact
This,
same page, but the way you do it
I
is
was just gonna
important.
say that, and that's the thing. We're human beings.
Yes.
You and I, we disagree on stuff weekly,
Yes.
sometimes daily basis.
Hmm.
We disagree.
Absolutely.
Yes, we disagree on
Yes,
things
we
on a daily
do.
basis. But this is the thing: when you disagree, be respectful. I've
Yes.
seen a lot of things. I've been at gatherings, at family gatherings, where I see the husband and wife disrespecting each other.
Hmm.
It's like you can't do that. You
Hmm.
can't expect for somebody, and you can't expect for your spouse to keep want to come around if all they do every time I come in this environment, I feel disrespected.
Hmm.
Every time I come in this environment, I feel less than. I go into this environment, I don't feel like a man anymore. Why?
Hmm.
Because dad let you borrow money because we didn't have any money,
And
and now dad looking at me, acting funny at me. Or
hmm.
dad pulled me to the side. Hey, boy, you got to take care of my daughter. And now there's a dilemma
Hmm.
between the father-in-law and the son-in-law,
Hmm.
and now the daughter has to deal with both things because of the wall has been torn down in that united front. People, I don't care whether it's the husband or whether it's the wife, whether it's the friend, whether it's the children, they have feelings, and I know if I'm not wanted in the place.
Hmm.
People
Hmm.
confront, people don't have to say anything, but here we know, we can feel it.
Hmm.
We can feel it if we have
Absolutely.
any type of sense, if we have any type of emotions, we can feel when somebody really don't want us to be
Hmm.
around. You can
Absolutely.
feel it. I mean, you don't. I mean, I know you use the word like. I mean, you don't even have to
You
say
feel
any of
that.
that.
You feel that. It's not
You feel it
necessarily
without the
that it's
words.
always said. Yes, it cannot be said at all, but you feel it. Like they don't really want me here. He just said we disagree on a regular, and we do because we're different people. But we have this thing that we do, and we've been doing it for a while, and we're pretty good at it. When we disagree, we can say, okay, we can leave. If it's people in the room and we're talking about something in a subject we disagree on, we're going to walk through it. But if this is something that's going to be a rigorous situation or this is something that is a little touchy, we're not going to have this conversation in front of everybody. We're not going to discuss this in front of the kids or in the kitchen. We need to take a ride or we need to go on the patio or we need to go in our bedroom and have this discussion so that you can share your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, and how you feel about the situation. I can just share my thoughts, my ideas, my feeling, what I feel about the situation, and we can decide something, whether it's to agree to disagree, whether it's we're not going to settle this tonight and we need to pick it up later, whether this is we see this differently, let's try to work through it so we can mesh it together. Whatever it is, the main part is to be respectful. We never want to lose the respect for our significant other in front of other people.
Right. And I don't want anybody to get this mistaken. I mean, we're not talking about faking.
Oh,
We're not talking
no,
about pretending.
no.
We're talking about respect. We're talking
Yes.
about having respect for each other. United front, having respect for each other. So when we're talking about family and friends, I mean, we want to have respect for our spouse
Mm-hmm.
because we'll be surprised. What I want you to do, I want you to take a minute. I want you to think about
Mm.
something that you have done in your life that may have said something. You may have said something to a sister, to a cousin, and in hindsight, you're looking at the situation. Your family really don't like your spouse, but you have to ask your question. You have to ask the question: what have I said to my family? The
Mm-hmm.
reason why they don't like my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of times we jump and we upset, and we're dealing with the effects, but we're not dealing with the
The
cause.
root
And a
cause.
lot of times the cause come back because you never deal with the cause. We're constantly pointing at the effect, and here you are. You may go home with your spouse and you talking about yeah, they did this, they did that, they did this,
Mm-hmm.
and you
I
sympathizing
don't
with
know
them,
why
not
they
knowing.
acting like that
Right,
with you.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it, you are the reason.
Mm-hmm.
You are the reason they acting like they're
Yeah,
acting with your spouse. So be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. All right.
absolutely.
So the first thing is friends and family, or family and friends, vice versa. So what's number two?
Number two, it's a more intimate part of your family. It's your children.
I can't expect the kids to respect you if
If
I
you
don't
don't,
expect them
right?
to.
And it's the same for the wife. If I don't respect you as a husband, as the head of the household, as what you value and bring to the table, if the kids see me talking crazy to you, if the kids see me raising my
Oh, they're
voice
gonna
at
try
you, rolling
themselves.
your eyes
They're
at
gonna
you,
try. Yeah.
they're going to do the same. If the kids can see that you say something and I say something different, that's going to be a problem. They're going to challenge both of us,
Yeah.
because they're going to know, well, what he says doesn't matter, and then they're going to feel like, well, I got her wrapped around my finger.
Right.
If you and your husband have a disagreement, if he leaves the home, and when I say leaves the home, like he gone to cool off or gone to take a walk or whatever, and you in the kitchen and you and the kids are like, whoa, they have this thing in their mind about dad or whatever, and they begin to choose sides. They'll even use that to manipulate one parent over the other. So you have to be careful about the things that you say in regards to your spouse, the things that you say when you are disagreeing, how you respect them or disrespect them, because parents, mother, father, no matter what your circumstance is, even if you're talking about um, blended families, if you're talking about extended, you have to present a united front in front of your children.
Yeah.
One parent should not say one thing and another parent overrides what that parent says. Or I say it's okay for us to be ABC and you say no, it's supposed to be DFG. And there's this continual thing. I have literally seen, and I remember it as a little kid. That's how important it is, and it sticks out to me. I was a little kid when I witnessed a husband and a wife who I thought were, very well, got along very well.
Hmm.
They almost went to fisticuffs behind the kids
Yeah.
because mom said one thing, dad said something else. And for some people, it's not that extreme. For other people, it's just a breaking of that person's spirit. That no matter what mom says, when daddy comes in the room, that supersedes what mama said. Mama said no, well, I'm just gonna ask daddy and he gonna say yes. Or daddy said no, so I'm just gonna ask mama when he not here and she gonna give it to me. We have to present a united front when it comes to your kids, whether they're little kids, whether they're teenagers, whether they're adult kids. You and your husband together are deciding how we're going to move forward in situations. With adult kids, if you're letting them borrow money and things of that nature, we need to be a united front in this. Whatever it is, we need to be together. And the kids, the friends, the family, everybody needs to know this couple is a united front.
Yeah. And you know what? I really want to, especially with children, I
Mm-hmm.
really want to take our time and really deal with this because honestly, I see this happen more than not. I see
Mm-hmm.
this happen a lot. So this is the thing. So one of the things to kind of maneuver around from that, I think is a good thing, and I advise you to have the conversations before it happens. Have the
Mm.
conversation. Have those conversations when you're spending time together. Like, okay, so what we're gonna do? When somebody come to us about borrowing
Right,
money,
right,
what are we gonna do when somebody comes about this?
right.
What we're gonna do when they come? Right now we're in the middle of we're in the middle of pandemic. We're in 2020 in the middle of pandemic, and here it is. It's like, I mean, the kids, our kids are getting, they're getting restless,
Mm-hmm.
with sitting at home. So it's like, okay, how do we do as parents? How do we
Yeah.
distinguish? How do we have a conversation so when the child come to you or come to me, we can be on the same
A
page
united front.
already? We're
Mm-hmm.
united front. We're on the same page already
Mm-hmm.
prior, because we don't want to deal with this in front of the child,
Mm-hmm.
because when you deal with it in front of the child, I'm making you look non-effective. Or
Mm-hmm.
here's the crazy thing. This is the thing we don't get. I'm making you look non-effective, but so the kids is losing respect in you,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time they losing respect in me too,
Mm-hmm.
because now they used to look at mama as mom and dad as Superman and Superwoman. Now I just killed your Superwoman,
Divine.
and by me killing your Superwoman, I already added kryptonite to my
Mm-hmm.
Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing. What we have to understand as parents: when you do it to your spouse, it's happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
You may not know it right away, but
Yep.
trust me, it's happening to you. That child is like, okay, man, if mama wrong,
Mm-hmm.
what about that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought mama was right about this.
Mm-hmm.
So if mama wrong about this, what about that? Then they start looking at both of you guys the same way, and you're losing ground. So united front is very important. So I give you that one tip is really having a conversation, talking about this, having
That's
a
good.
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Try to anticipate. I'm a chess player. I'm a chess
Anticipate
player.
moves.
I'm a chess player. I mean, it's
Yeah.
what I do. It's a natural thing. I would sit down. Matter of fact, a lot of the things I talked about, we didn't have these conversations
Yes, we
already.
have.
We
We
have these
have.
conversations
Mm-hmm.
before it
Yep.
happened.
Yep.
We
Yep.
have these conversations in advance. Matter of fact, we didn't have conversations about stuff that even happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? We're ready.
Yeah.
She already know my stance. I know her stance. We talked about it. We dealt with it. And we collaborated on it, came to the agreement on this is how we're going to handle it before it even happened.
Mm-hmm.
We planning for it. We're planning for it because the ultimate goal is for us to continue to have the united front.
Mm-hmm.
We want to always be on the same page. We don't want the children playing us against each other.
Mm-mm.
We want to be on the same page at all times. So this united front is very, very important.
Absolutely. And even when we're still working to get on the same page, we're not doing that in front of the kids because
Absolutely.
the kids will never know what what we have decided behind closed doors or what we're still working on an answer for.
This is something that happened. This happened. It happened maybe during the summer. I remember it was a particular case. A son about a, um, came to you about something. You're eating dinner,
Mhm.
and you jumped in. You handled the situation. I
Mhm.
didn't totally agree with how
Mhm.
you handle it. So after that, we talked about it. Matter of fact, it was right in my note. That was the next thing we are gonna talk about. Not in front of the kids, but
Mhm.
we went in the bedroom. We talked about it, and we had this conversation. And then let me tell you how easy this went. So once we had this conversation behind closed doors, I
Mhm.
disagree with her.
Mhm.
I disagree with how she handled the situation. I'm looking at the wrong camera.
Uh-huh.
I disagree with how she handled the situation.
Mhm.
I had totally disagreements with it, but I didn't deal with it then. We
Mhm.
went to the bedroom, we had a conversation, and once we had the conversation, this is the key. This is the key. Once we had the conversation, we came to agreement, we collaborated, we was on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go and call them and say, hey, this. I know she said this. No, I
I
told
did.
her.
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I said, babe, I said, so what you need to do? I said, well, we on this thing together. What you need to do, you need to go
Yeah.
and correct it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go and say, you know what? I thought about this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Why we never played against each other. Even if we talked about it, we never called them in the room, say, hey, come here, let me talk to you, and call them in the room. And then I'm explaining what went wrong. No, she's fixed it. Matter of fact, he had no idea. He still to this day have no idea that we had a
Yeah.
conversation. And I mean, it was a better situation for him in the end. The end results was better for
Mm-hmm.
him,
Mm-hmm.
but he had no idea. He had no idea I was
Mm-hmm.
even involved in it
Absolutely.
because you dealt with it and you handled it right there by yourself.
Absolutely. And we want to say this just so you know. When we say go to the bedroom, it's not like we just, oh, this is the moment. He waited until we were privately there. It wasn't like, hey, come in the bedroom. I
Yeah, it
need to
was
talk
nothing.
to
It
you.
was nothing like
Because you
that.
don't want to start doing that. Because then it's like, why are they going to? It's not that.
Yeah,
It was
they
just
had no
when
idea.
we naturally were in the bathroom together and it was like, hey, babe, you said da da da. Da," and we discussed it and started talking about it. I presented my point of view. And then it was like,
Or,
okay,
or you know what? I mean, because we've done this
we
before.
have.
We've done this before when we was in the setting. It's like, but it still wasn't. Nobody even noticed
Not
it. I mean, it's
obvious.
like when
That's
them
what I
eye thing.
mean.
It was like as soon as we caught we got eye contact. We're like
Yeah.
something like
That's what I mean. And the
yeah.
reason why I said not like, hey, let me because
You're still doing the same thing.
yeah,
Still not a united front.
depends upon how you do it. It can still be
Yeah,
you're not presenting a united front because
yeah,
like, oh yeah, mama ain't happy. They going in the room now, and when she come out, he gonna say something
yeah,
different.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
daddy ain't happy, so they gonna go in the room now,
yeah.
and when they come out, it's gonna be something different.
Oh man,
No.
and it's really it's so key. I mean, our children. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. I have a confession. I mean, one of the biggest reasons why I am the way I am, even about children, because I'm gonna have to say, I played I didn't realize it when I was a kid, but I literally played my mom and dad against each other.
Wow.
Yes, I was a mama's boy. I was a mama's boy, and I knew whatever I want, I knew who to go to. And I'm telling you, it was plenty. I mean, I even hate. I was a kid, but even the
You
thought
ain't
of,
know no
I know I didn't. But the thought of it, it kind of, it secretly break my heart a little bit because I intentionally played them against each other because I was a kid.
You
I
and
mean,
you
you
and
super selfish. You
you
want what
want
you
what you
want.
want
I
when you're
want
a
what I
kid.
want. I'm
Yeah,
like super
exactly.
selfish. I mean, it's like, man. I mean, they literally had arguments. I'm talking serious arguments based on that boy is spoiled this, and then she this, whatever I mean, they had this conversation, and well, not conversation. They had this argument, this big bad argument, based on my manipulation as a child to get what I want. And you want me to tell you what's the crazy part about it? I look at it now, but back then, I didn't even see that being a problem
Mm-mm.
because at the end of the day,
Because
mommy protected me,
mhm.
or whatever. I mean, I probably would. I mean, my voice maybe was a little deeper than this. But I'm talking going into
Oh
teenage
my
years. Well, I'm
God.
saying going into teenage years,
I'm
I was
just
still doing the
messing with
same
you.
thing. I was doing the same thing, and I think it's so. The point is because I did that as a child. And now I know I did that as a child. I know what I did as a child. Then I sit and watch parents and their children react and how they play against each other. And I see children, especially, ooh, man, I see children doing the same thing that I did as a child. So
Mhm.
I know it's possible, and I know every child has it in them,
Has the
has the
ability to do
ability
it.
to do
Yes,
it.
they do.
Yeah,
And it's because they don't, as a child, you don't realize the consequences of what you're doing.
yeah,
Like this could cause a rift between mom and daddy. You just know which person is going to get you what you want.
yeah,
And sometimes it's the same. Sometimes it's the same way for friends and family. They just know which person gonna get what they want, give
yeah,
them what they want,
yeah,
or they know which side they're choosing to be on. This is my team. We team Shante, we team Cedric,
yeah.
and that's how it is. So you don't think about the residuals
And
of what that's
and
gonna cost.
most people gravitate towards what they can get out of you.
Yeah,
If somebody can get something out of you, but they can't get it out of me, they're gonna keep coming to you. You're the
exactly.
one gonna get that phone call. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get that phone call for the loan
Mm-hmm.
or for
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be. Speaking of loan, so number one is friends
Friends
and
and
family.
family,
Number two is children.
children.
So the number three category we want to deal with is budget, finance, and spending. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. So, budget, finance, and spending, you want to present a united front in your budgeting, your finances, and your spending.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why. We believe that this is vital in your budgeting, a united front. It should not be that, we're budgeting and you can spend whatever you want to spend, but I have to ask before I buy
Mm.
something. I need to have a written out budget for what I'm doing, but you have unlimited amount of money to spend what you want to spend, and there's no question asked. You want to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
And when it comes to finance, you want to be you want to make sure that you're considering what your spouse feels, you're considering what your spouse thinks,
Yeah.
because finance is the number one things that marriages and relationships tend to struggle with.
Yeah.
And that's because we're different. We're sitting here. He's a saver. I would always say I'm not a saver, but I do save. But I'm a shopper. I like to spend. So I had to learn to save. But he still is the one that creates our saving plan. And I'm just like, okay, we have to have money. We're a united front. So this is the plan. We're gonna roll with it. And how you budget, how you spend, all of that, you have to be together in those things. You have to respect each other. I can't go out and buy a brand new car, and I haven't discussed that with my husband, because I used to sell cars, and I always would tell anybody, any couple going to buy a car, you have to present a united front at the car lot. Why? Because when you don't, they have been taught they're going to separate and they're going to go after the one that's in love with the car.
Yeah.
If this spouse is in love with the car and ready to buy,
That's who you
and
talking
this
to.
spouse is saying, oh no, we need to think about this. How much is going to cost? Is it going to raise our insurance? Is it going to do this? They don't want to talk to that spouse. They want to separate, and they going to focus on this one. Man, get that cuff. Make your wife happy. Happy wife, happy life. That's the kind of stuff they do, because
I love it.
at the car lot, they're now playing on the fact that you're not a united front.
I love
If
it.
you have one spouse get up, let's go. We ain't gonna buy this, and the other spouse still sitting there like, but I want the car. I want the car. They are going to use that against you. So when you are purchasing things, you want to have united fronts. If you're buying a home, whatever, wherever you go, you want the salespeople, whoever, to know that this couple is a united front. When it comes to family members that want or need help, you have to be a united front. It's never we're talking about finance, budget, and spending, even giving. You don't want to just be like, oh, don't talk to Cedric, go talk to Sean. She'll give you $500. Don't. Or I'm gonna give you this $500, but don't tell my husband I'm giving it to you. No, because it doesn't work that way in the Francis
I think
household.
most people that know us know
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't work that way in the Francis household. If someone comes to me, then I'm going to talk to my husband, and it's going to be now. My husband, I'm not going to him. He's not coming to me to let somebody borrow $10. Come on, give somebody $10. That's
I'm
not
gonna
what we're
say
talking about here.
it's a limit. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
come
not
on,
what
man.
we're talking
Somebody
about
need
here, because
somebody need
the reason
$50.
why I
I mean,
said that,
it's like
because sometimes I already know it happens. People hear something be like, oh, that's too much. I'm not. No, we're not talking about giving your child $10 or whatever it is. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about things that could cause issues within your relationship,
$1,000
things
loans,
that can cause
two
rifts
thousand
within
dollar
your
loans.
relationship. We're talking about you taking care or taking care of a family member, and that your husband doesn't know anything about it. Then that comes out, and now it's like, what? Or you give somebody $1,000, they gonna pay you back Friday, and this for a bill, and then come
Ooh,
Friday they don't give it back, and now you got to
ooh,
tell your spouse, we ain't got the rent money because I get. That's what we're
ooh.
talking about when
Yes,
we're talking about budget,
that's a whole nother
finance, spending.
podcast.
Exactly, you have to
Yeah.
be a united front, and it's not that you can say it however you want to say it. Oh, you got to get his permission. That's fine, because we're a united front,
And we happy
and
doing
we
it.
good with that. We good with that.
We
Yeah,
happy
I'm
with
getting
it.
his permission.
I guess the crazy thing about it, I'm not ashamed to say it. Say, hey man, I need to talk to my wife, man. And
Because it works for us. It works for us. And that's
Yeah.
the part I was
Ain't
getting
no
ready to
shame in
go
my
to.
game. I'll tell
You
somebody in a minute. And they can call it, man. You whipped or whatever the cat, I don't know. Whatever terminology we use nowadays. I mean, I'm kicking the terminology from probably 20 years ago when I was in high school. But I mean, the terminology may have changed, but whatever it is, can be in control. You've been in control. If someone feel that way, I'm telling you, I just want to share with you and let you know this. It works. It
Yes.
works. You got a united front. Us being on the same page with everything, it works. I'm telling you, happy life, happy husband, happy wife, happy child, happy family. I mean, it's all about being united and being on one accord, and in everything we do. I mean, you can't even, you can't get anywhere if you're not thinking the same direction. It's like
Mhm.
you and I, we both trying to get somewhere, but your mind is
One person pulling to the left, the other person pulling to
it's
the
not
right.
gonna
There's
work.
always going to be friction. There's always going to be problems. And that's what I was getting ready to say. And I was getting ready to encourage everyone. It doesn't matter what anyone else says.
No.
You always have to do what's
Do what's
best for
best for
your
you.
relationship.
Yes, do what's
You have
best
to
for
do
you.
what's best for your
Yeah,
household and for us, having a united front means that's how we keep the peace in our house,
yeah.
means that's how we keep the togetherness in our house, means that's how we keep understanding, support, respect, all of that in our house. So I could care less what
Same.
anybody
It's
says
mutual. I'm the
about
same
it.
way. I'm the
I
same way.
could care less about that.
I'm the same way.
And the reason why we thought it was important to share is because a lot of people, we talk to a lot of people, and it doesn't matter, married, dating, people older than us, people younger than us. We allow sometimes too many outside things to break down this united front. You brought up the military, corporate companies.
Always
You
together.
cannot
Always
be
together.
successful without connecting. We went to a pastor's conference some years ago, and I took the executive pastor course. And the one thing I remember him teaching, he
Mm.
said, as an executive, I'm not an executive pastor, I'm first lady, but as an executive pastor, meaning a support to the pastor, you always present a united front. If you have questions, if you have a disagreement with senior leadership, if you're on a job, you don't start arguing with the boss in front of people that you're leading.
Yeah.
You go to them privately and talk to them about that. Because the moment you approach them in front of
And when
everybody,
you come out, of the boardroom, you have to be on the same
there
page.
it goes.
You can't come out of the boardroom
Well,
and say,
they
well,
said
they want
this,
to
but
do
I
this, but
disagree.
no, we got to be on the
Exactly.
same page.
Mm-hmm.
United front.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me. United front. Whether it's your marriage, whether it's your business, whether it's your team, whether it's your leadership, united front in everything you do.
We thank you for joining us today on the Marriage Coach Podcast. If you enjoyed the information you heard in this podcast on today, we're asking you to subscribe and click the notification button so that you will be notified when we upload a video every week. And if you like this information and found it useful, give us a big thumbs up. If you're listening on iTunes, to please rate the podcast and leave a review. That helps us get the word out. We also want to invite you to head on over to our Lead to Greatness podcast and check it out. It's a podcast on leadership and entrepreneurship.
So we want to thank you so much for joining us on the Marriage Coach Podcast. Looking forward to hanging out with you again on next week as we continue to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving. Bye. See you next week.